In the 1980s, Michael Jackson's rise wasn't just about talent, it was an engine of precision. Quincy Jones calling every shot, daily locked door rehearsals, and MTV's global pipeline blasting him to tens of millions. So when labels tried manufacturing heirs by isolating his moves or vocal style, something always failed. Why couldn't anyone replace him? And what changed in the system that made it impossible? Quincy Jones ran the studio like a command center. During the Thriller sessions, he booked 3 studios at once, moving musicians and engineers between rooms to keep the music flowing. Every detail passed through his hands, song choices, arrangements, even the final mix. If something did not meet his standard, it did not make the record. Jones's authority was not just creative, it was absolute. He could veto a take, swap out a player, or scrap a song, and nobody challenged his decisions. Behind the scenes, choreographers like Michael Peters and Jeffrey Daniel built a movement machine to match the music. Peters, who designed the iconic Thriller dance, demanded hours of locked-door rehearsals. Dancers drilled steps day after day until every snap and glide matched Jackson's timing. The troupe worked as a single organism, with no room for improvisation once the show began. Jeffrey Daniel, known for introducing the moonwalk to Jackson, enforced discipline in the studio, running sessions that blurred the line between rehearsal and performance. This was not just about individual talent, it was a system. Producers, choreographers, musicians, and dancers, all moving under a single vision. The result was a kind of creative ecosystem, where every part supported the whole. Later artists rarely had this level of unified command. Their teams changed from album to album, and producers shared control with the artist or label. For Jackson, the studio and rehearsal floor became engines of precision, impossible to replicate by copying just one piece of the process. MTV in the 1980s was a fortress with only a handful of slots for new videos. Getting into rotation meant more than exposure. It meant ownership of the cultural conversation. Michael Jackson's videos didn't just air, they dominated. Billie Jean and Thriller played nearly every hour, making Jackson unavoidable for anyone with access to cable. Radio followed suit, with major stations across the US and Europe slotting his singles into heavy rotation. This wasn't just luck or talent. Epic Records and Sony poured millions into promotion, buying up magazine covers, TV specials, and primetime ad spots. Their teams negotiated deals to guarantee Jackson's face and sound reached across continents. Touring matched this scale. The Bad World Tour in 1987 covered 15 countries and packed stadiums from Tokyo to London. The Dangerous Tour, launched in 1992, upped the ante with custom-built stages, pyrotechnics, and a traveling crew that sometimes topped 200 people. These weren't just concerts, they were global events, reported on by newspapers in every major market. The system ran on gatekeeping. MTV's limited playlist meant that a single video could define a season. Labels fought for those slots, but Jackson's team had the leverage to secure repeated airings. The result was a feedback loop. More airplay led to more demand, which justified even more promotion. No artist since has enjoyed that kind of broadcast monopoly. The machinery of exposure, radio, TV, press, and arena tours locked Jackson into the center of global pop culture. For a decade, the system amplified his reach until his music felt inescapable. Usher Raymond entered the spotlight with a reputation built on movement. By the time he took the stage alongside Michael Jackson at the 30th anniversary celebration in 2001, industry insiders and fans alike were already whispering about a passing of the torch. That moment, Usher spinning, gliding, and trading steps with Jackson became a symbol. Headlines called him the heir apparent, and LaFace Records leaned into the narrative, positioning Usher as the next great dance-driven superstar. The label's strategy played out in the club and on the charts. Usher's videos from the early 2000s, especially You Don't Have to Call and Yeah, were packed with choreography. Each release felt like an audition for pop's top spot, with routines that nodded to Jackson's legacy but filtered through R&B club culture. The campaign behind Confessions in 2004 pushed Usher to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 for weeks. Songs like Burn and Yeah dominated radio, and his dance breaks became a staple on award shows and late-night television. But the reach was different. Usher's dominance thrived on BET and urban radio, with crossover success that never fully matched Jackson's global sweep. The system behind him was powerful, but it was fragmented, producers, choreographers, and marketing teams working in parallel, not as a single machine. Even with a club chart campaign and choreography-heavy visuals, the attempt to isolate Jackson's dance magic could not recreate the universal focus of the MTV era. Usher's talent was undeniable, but the machinery that once made a superstar inescapable had already begun to splinter. Justin Timberlake's solo breakout came engineered by some of the sharpest minds in pop. When he left NSYNC in 2002, his label turned to producers who could reshape his sound for a new era. Pharrell Williams and Timbaland took the lead, blending digital funk with R&B and pop hooks. The result was a calculated pivot. Justified and Future Sex Love sounds sounded nothing like his boy band past, but the fingerprints of Jackson's style were everywhere. Tracks like Rock Your Body and Señorita drew comparisons for their falsetto vocals and syncopated grooves, while Timberlake's choreography in videos and live shows nodded to Jackson's legacy. But the approach was modular. Instead of a single creative architect, Timberlake's albums cycled through producer-driven sessions. Each track became its own experiment, with no central authority guiding the whole. The industry's hope was that a patchwork of the right elements, Jackson-inspired moves, innovative beats, and a slick visual package could add up to the same impact. The 2014 posthumous duet Love Never Felt So Good, produced for Jackson's Escape album, reignited the debate. Timberlake's performance, both in the studio and in the video, leaned into the comparison. Dancers mimicked iconic Jackson routines, and the visuals referenced classic MJ videos. Some fans celebrated the homage image, but others accused Timberlake of overstepping, calling the duet self-serving. The backlash sharpened old tensions about race, legacy, and who gets to inherit pop's crown. No single producer or marketing push could replicate the cohesion of Jackson's system. Timberlake's success was real, but the attempt to isolate and reassemble Jackson's magic revealed the limits of a producer-driven strategy. The sum never equaled the original whole. By the late 1990s, the old machinery of pop exposure began to sputter. Napster and other peer-to-peer platforms exploded onto college campuses in 1999, letting millions trade music files for free. Suddenly, a single hit could leak across the globe overnight, without label approval, radio play, or MTV rotation. Physical album sales, once the backbone of chart power, plummeted. Billboard's authority faded as playlists splintered. Songs that might have dominated airwaves for months now competed with an endless stream of new releases, all fighting for space on burned CDs and digital folders. The industry's dream of another inescapable superstar faded as music fans built their own collections, skipping gatekeepers entirely. The era of saturation, one artist everywhere all at once, collapsed under the weight of file sharing. The ground rules for pop dominance were rewritten, and the search for a new Michael Jackson ran headlong into a world where no one could control the spotlight. Streaming platforms took the reins from radio and MTV, but instead of building new superstars, they broke the audience into millions of micro niches. Algorithms now decide what each listener hears, serving up playlists tailored to individual taste rather than a single global chart. The days of a song dominating every car stereo or club are gone. Today, even the most streamed tracks rarely reach everyone at once. Recommendation engines push artists to the corners of countless genres, rewarding consistency in a style over cultural takeover. No single performer can command the kind of universal attention that once belonged to Michael Jackson. The idea of a pop monarch faded as digital feeds replaced mass rotation, making true, all-encompassing dominance structurally impossible. No algorithm or marketing plan can manufacture cultural lightning. In today's fractured media landscape, the idea of a single unifying pop icon is almost impossible. Jackson's shadow is not just long, it is a boundary. Some moments in culture do not repeat. They only remind us what has changed. Share your thoughts below.